Buenos dias. Good morning, folks. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish speaking neighbors of District 14 and other guests. Sí, buenos días a nuestros vecinos del Distrito 14 y otros invitados. Si quieren acceso al programa de hoy en español, por favor vean el número que aparece en la pantalla, que es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contestan su llamada, por favor comparten el código de acceso que también aparece en la pantalla, que es 779-328-221 y también está en los comentarios. All right, folks, we did it despite Milwaukee's curveball of another weather storm. We were able, because of my incredible staff and our incredible Southside Civic Coalition, we were able to, with a frenzy of activity, change everything from in person to this Facebook Live. We were originally going to have it in person with just streaming it live, but changing a whole program from being in live to being in a Facebook Live takes some doing. Joining me this morning for the welcome is our youth organizer, Alexis Spraggins. My name is Tammy Rivera, and I'm the executive director and lead organizer of SOC. So we'll say hello. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning. Good morning.
Love sharing moderating with you. So we'll get going in just a second, trying to be on screen and read our agenda. Um, what we would like to do this morning is share with you who the Civic Coalition is and ask you to please like their social media, at least Facebook, and ours as well. And so those partners are the Latino Chamber of Commerce, the League of Women Voters, the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center, the Milwaukee Turners, Voces de la Frontera, Vote Riders, and SOC is honored to be the leader and the host of the Civic Coalition. So those are our partners, our coalition partners. And instead of having our civic fair, which we had planned to happen from 9 to 10 and from 12 to 1, what will happen is our coalition partners are going to share their websites with you in the comments, and any information and resources that they want to share, they'll also share in the comments here on Facebook Live. Folks, we took some measures to ensure transparency and integrity of this event because we have connections to each of the candidates. One of the candidates is a former staff person, Travis Hope. One of the candidates has been a collaborator from the pandemic forward in our COVID-19 and public health outreach, which is Caroline Gomez Tom. And Angel Sanchez has been with us several times previously running for office. So SOC wants to be transparent and to ensure the integrity of this event. The questions that neighbors submitted were submitted to one of our coalition partners, Vote Writers, and there'll be two other moderators instead of myself, and usually a board member and a youth organizer moderating the questions for the candidates. We have two other of the other partners doing that just to make sure that people feel there isn't an advantage to any one candidate because our relationships with them. And then Alexis is going to do a very special shout out and thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alexis. I'm currently the youth organizer intern at SOC, and we would like to thank the Milwaukee Urban Stables for being the host in our in-person event today. We hope to work together soon.
Thank you. We really appreciate Nancy and everyone there. My staff completely set up physically yesterday for several hours. And we'll go clean up on Monday, Nancy, promise. But you've been so gracious and we're really happy. I'm going to say some hellos. Let's see who's with us this morning. If you're with us this morning, we can't see you unless you put a comment and say hello there. So please do that. Buenos dias, Wilma. Wilma is our operations assistant. Buenos dias, KK River Neighbors in Action. We were with you all from your inception, and we're glad we're still in partnership with you. Good morning, Andrea. Andrea's a former staff, very proud of all the work she's doing now. Buenos dias, Pedro. Good morning, Jim Layer. Good morning, Anita Gonzalez, which is our project assistant. Good morning, Patricia Mayorga. Good morning, Clary, inaugural president of our Staff Alumni Association. Good morning, Midge Layer. Good morning, Allison True. Good morning, Voces de la Frontera. Good morning, Tony. And we'll continue to say hellos if you leave us a note in the comments. All right, folks, our review of the agenda and announcements got a lot shorter, so we don't have to tell you where the bathroom is or any of those logistics. What we do have for you is a sequence of the agenda, which I'm going to explain, and then some announcements. So after the announcements, we're going to do a little call to action to get you engaged and involved. I'm going to share the questions, how the questions took place, what they're about, and what the order of the candidate questions are. We're going to share a video message from the chairperson of the County Supervisors Chair, Marcelia Nicholson. And then I'm going to turn it over to Kevin and Peggy to moderate the candidates forum. And then I'll be back with you all to conclude and do some reminders. So that's the order so that you could follow with us. All right, first announcement. If you are those people who love door prizes, this is especially for you, but I encourage all of you to participate. Those of you who RSVP'd to the candidates forum on our Facebook invite previously, if you said you were coming, not those that you said you were interested, but if you made a commitment to coming, you'll be entered in a drawing. And anybody who shares this Facebook Live event will also be entered in that drawing. And that drawing is for a $50 gift card. So again, if you previously had RSVP'd you were coming, we got all those names already. They'll be going into that bucket for the drawing. And if you share this event, now I'm not talking about SOC staff or board or coalition partners, but if you're a guest and you share this event, you'll be entered into a drawing for a $50 gift card, and that will be shown on Facebook Live on Monday by my staff team. Also, those of you who follow us, like us, friend us on, and I'm talking about SOC, go to our social media and like us, follow us, etc. You'll also be entered in another drawing for a $50 gift card, which will be revealed Facebook Live on Monday. All right, so two ways is $100 for the taken, folks. Then we have some reminders for you. The spring election, the general spring election is Tuesday, April 4th. We have it's time right now that you can early vote for the general election, and you can early vote at the Mitchell Street Library and the Zablocki Library. During that election, it will be the primary for these candidates. So the primary means you decide which two go forward. So there's three of them. So you have to decide, you vote, and then the winners, the top two, go forward to a special election, and then we can share that later when that's going to take place. And then we urge you, if you haven't experienced yet, to join us on that Tuesday, April 4th for our vote-a-thon. We'll be with you every 2 hours of the day, giving you voting information. And then if you have any questions that need answering, there's a one-stop website for that. It's myvote.wisconsin.gov. And there you can get where you have to vote, what IDs you need to take, who's on the ballot, etc. So it's a great resource for you. All right. Now, what we want to do is take some action. We always have this intention when we're together, right? Like after we go to an event, we're going to make sure we follow this organization or check what resources or volunteer, etc. But we're super, super busy. So once we leave, we never do that. So we're going to just take 2 minutes here now for you to look for us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Again, I want to remind you, those of you who do that or are new are going to be entered into a $50 gift card. And so SOC again is on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But we also go ahead and do that now. Get your phones or here, if you're on a laptop, go do that now. While you do that, I'm going to remind you who our partners are. And if our partners are with us, maybe they can give you a quick link to find us on those, to find them on those social media platforms. Again, that was the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Southeastern Wisconsin, the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin, um, excuse me, the Milwaukee LGBT Center, Milwaukee Turners, Voces de la Frontera, and Vote Riders. So let's take a couple of minutes to do that. If you do that, if you did that, will you leave us a comment to tell us that you did that? While you're doing that, I'm going to say some more hellos. Let me see who else is with us this morning. Leroy, hey Leroy, we miss you, buddy. We really do. President of the Common Council, Jose Perez is with us this morning. Welcome. Carmen Ortiz, welcome. Buenos días. Esperanza Gutierrez. Alderperson Marina Dimitrievich is with us. Buenos días. Andrea says, don't count me for raffles. Share that love with other residents, please. Gracias. Very gracious of you as always. Hola, Marisela Martin. Been a long time since we saw each other. All right, folks. Did any of you like, follow, friend, either SOC or any of our partners this morning? Drop us a line in the comments so we can rah-rah you. While you do that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Let me share with you how the candidates questions part of the form today is going to go, and how we handled the questions. There are two different sets of questions that took place for the forum today. Each of the coalition partners were able to submit one question for the candidates. The candidates needed to respond in writing. Those questions and the answers are going to be posted on our social media. They're not going to be answered live because our philosophy at SOC, our commitment is the neighbors are centered and they're our top priority. So those organizational questions in English and in Spanish will be shared here in social media. So you'll be able to get to know the candidates a little better from their answers there. And then we gathered questions from neighbors of District 14. The rest of you who care about District 14, we thank you for being with us and being engaged. But again, the top priority here is for our county supervisor District 14 neighbors to be able to ask questions of the candidates they have to consider for voting. And those questions were reviewed for themes. Now, half of the questions were given to the candidates ahead of time so that they could have some time and some input, maybe from their teams or whoever, to answer the questions. The other half of the question, so they got three ahead of time, and three are brand new questions to them here live. That's just a more fair way of allowing those people who need some time to think about it to answer, and those who um, do better answering live, and who have to answer it by themselves versus getting help. So we thought that was a more um, we won't have time for additional questions, I don't think, today. And then, to be fair as well, we're going to rotate which candidate answers the question first. So for every question or every segment, a different candidate will answer first. Um, there's a minute to ask the question, and then they either have 3 or 5 minutes to answer. Here are the ground rules, folks. Sometimes people set up these forums as a debate. That's not what we're doing because, again, we want the neighbors' questions answered. And that's what we're asking the candidates to do. If the candidates choose to respond to one of the other candidates, we'll remind them, but it also is will be taking up part of their allotted time. All right, so let's get ready. And I'm here to support the moderators. All of us are here. We had to pull this off in a very short period of time. So we ask you for continued flexibility, mercy, and grace. Okay, folks? Let me introduce each one of the coalition partners took on a responsibility. So let me do some shout outs about that. Nick and Juan took care of questions. And then Kevin and Peggy, who I'm about to introduce, agreed to moderate. So Kevin Turner Espinosa is the executive director of the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center. He's one of our moderators today, and he's co-moderating with Peggy Creer, who's the president of the League of Women Voters of Milwaukee County. So as they moderate, they're also going to keep time because we had to change the way we were going to do that for today. And the sequence again is going to be for this segment will be the candidates will have 5 minutes each to do an introductory statement. They can use up however much of that time, but it will their screen will end at 5 minutes and it'll move and they'll be silenced and it'll move to another candidate. And then there are 6 questions. The question is asked, and each of the candidates will have 3 minutes to answer. And again, they're going to rotate who answers them for first. And our moderators are going to take turns back and forth who asks. After the questions, the candidates will have 5 minutes for a concluding statement. And again, they can use up to 5 minutes. They don't have to use it all. But if they go over, they will not be able to be heard or seen. It moves on. And then I'll come back with you all for the conclusion. Let me say a couple of hellos, and then I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful moderators. Let's see who else is with us today. Trini Zapata is with us. Hola, Trini. Anybody else before we get going? If not, let me take a note here to see if everybody's with us. We're going to start with whoever's with us or not. All right, folks, I'll be back with you when we are concluding, and we have Kevin and Peggy with us now to moderate, and all of our 3 candidates confirmed. We did a tech check with them earlier, and they were to be back with us live now.
Kevin, do you want to begin or shall I?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm Peggy Creer. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of Milwaukee County. The League is a 103-year-old nonpartisan grassroots organization, and our mission is to empower voters and defend democracy. So I'm very happy to be here with you today, and I'm pleased that we have so many people who are civically engaged. We've got the voters, the candidates, and the community organizations joining us this morning. So I appreciate that. Together, we make our democracy stronger. So we're going to begin with the candidates' opening statements. You have 5 minutes. I will keep time, and I'll say 30 seconds when you have 30 seconds to go. And then my understanding is your microphone will be cut at that point. So we're going to begin with Angel. Please introduce yourself, and you have 5 minutes.
Tuning in this morning, and thank you to the Southside Organizing Committee for putting on this event. I got involved with Southside Organizing Committee back in the 90s when they were on 29th and Grant. People like Jackson Borski were around back then, and Betty Grinker. And so this organization's been providing a tremendous service to the community for a very long time. So I'm a former SOC member. My family came to Milwaukee in 1976. We've all grown up here in Milwaukee and went to school in the MPS. Got involved with, again, Southside Organizing Committee and a lot of other efforts. I started the city's graffiti removal project, volunteered for the police department here in Milwaukee and in Madison, became the alderman here in the year 2000. I'm here to stay. We love Milwaukee. My kids are homeschooled. There's a reason for that as well. We my wife and I homeschool our kids. We believe that that's the best for their education. I worked in the MPS as a substitute teacher on and off for about 10 years. And things are going great. We love the city, but the city and our country, the county, our state is in a financial crisis right now. And many of the great things that it has to offer are, quite frankly, on the chopping block. My top priority has been and will be to find ways to either restructure the equation of state shared revenue or find other funding alternatives to make sure that we can deliver these services and programs to all the residents here at the county. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. And next we have Travis. Please introduce yourself.
There we go. There we are. Hello, everybody. My name is Travis Hope. I'm a longtime resident of. I lived in Milwaukee County my whole life. Longtime resident of south side of Milwaukee. I'm running for 14 County District Supervisor because I want to see a change. I want to see a connection with the neighborhood. Like I said, I lived here. I raised my kids here. We love the parks. We love a lot of the county services. There's times that the only transportation I had for me and my kids were the Milwaukee County buses. So I just, I really want to make a change to be accessible. I've done a lot of work in the parks, done a lot of work in the neighborhoods to make it safer for people to come here and enjoy their families and visit and just use these county amenities that we have. And I want to keep them and I want to make them better and more accessible to everybody. And, that's what I do. Those of you who know me, I've been volunteering. I've also been a community organizer, which I still do today. I've been with the Kinnickinnick River Neighbors in Action since 2014. I'm currently the volunteer president of that. I worked 4 years with SOC as a community organizer. I've done pretty much everything you could think of as far as safety and just, getting the community together, bringing neighborhoods together. I just, I really want to see a change, and we can do that. We can work together, and I've seen it happen, and we can make it happen. And yeah, so that's basically who I am, what I do. I spend a lot of times in all these parks. I'm very familiar with all these parks. I've done everything from cleanups to fix stuff in the parks to have events at the parks. And I'm gonna continue to do that, continue to be accessible. Part of my plan is to have meetings in the parks and in public places in the County District 14, which encompasses the whole lower South Side historic and near South Side, where I've always been active and I've always lived. And yeah, so those are just some of the things. That's who I am. Yeah, so my kids, I have 2 sons in college right now, UW-Madison. on academic scholarship. My daughter still in middle school, and they've always been active with me. I've always had them out here since 2014 with me, doing things in the parks and cleanups and doing crosswalk actions to ensure pedestrian safety and try to bring attention to reckless driving. Um, so yeah, so you can always check up those things on me. You can check out my Facebook, um, Travis Hope for County Board Supervisor. I always have information on there. I'll be putting more information on there as we go. Um, yeah, so I'm just here. I'm always accessible. People can always reach out to me. Um, yeah, so that's about it. That's me, Travis Hope.
Thank you, Travis. And next is Caroline. 5 minutes, Caroline.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for the opportunity to be in front of you all. I really appreciate the Southside Organizing Center and all of the partners, League of Women Voters, Milwaukee Turners, uh, the LGBT Center, and I think I'm missing someone, but thank you all for coordinating today. And I
Caroline,
really,
your camera doesn't appear to be on.
oh, okay. Give me one moment.
I'm pausing your time while you do that. There we go.
Do you see me now?
No.
I apologize for this
That's
technical
okay. I briefly
difficulty.
saw a photo, but not a lot.
Yeah, it shows my camera on my end, but I apologize for.
Okay, I'm seeing, Tammy is saying they can see you. So
Okay,
I can't explain this. Please,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
no worries, Peggy, and I'm so sorry that you can't see me, but I'm here and I can see you.
Okay.
But I just overall wanted to thank everyone who coordinated today's event because I know that that's not easy, especially with the shift in the weather. So thank you for hosting us. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be in front of the community today. My name is Caroline Gomez Tom, and I'm running for District 14 County Board Supervisor. I'm the daughter of working class immigrant parents from Mexico. I think of them every time I share why I decided to run for this position. My parents were hard workers, did everything that they could to give me and my brothers the life that we have. And even through those sacrifices, working long hours and multiple jobs, our family would still struggle and come up short in a society with systems not built for us. I feel through this experience of seeing my parents selflessly work to support my family that I've s- wanted and am spending my entire life trying to repay them through my passion for service and my dedication to the community. This community that I've lived here with my family now for 10 years. Whether it's been helping people access affordable health coverage across Milwaukee or, frankly, the entire state of Wisconsin, navigating COVID-19 measures and vaccine information while at 16th Street Community Health Centers, or lifting the community's voice when I lead a meeting for the City of Milwaukee Board of Health. I'm committed to bringing the perspectives, opinions, and voice of the community with me to every table that I sit at. I'm used to being the only person from my community at times at the table, but every place I am able, I bring people with me. And I want to make sure that working families, families like my own, feel like they have a place at the table where decisions are made. I want every resident of Milwaukee's South Side and all of Wisconsin, regardless of race, gender, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, immigration status, to feel safe and respected where they live, work, and play. I have experience in and passion for community social work, public health, and racial equity, and will lead with reason, consideration, and thoughtfulness. District 14 deserves a strong voice at the county level, and I believe I can be that voice. And I would love to earn your vote on April 4th and May 2nd to be that voice. Thank you.
Muted. Sorry, it was because my dog had barked. Thank you, Caroline. I'm going to turn things over to Kevin now. He can introduce himself and begin with the first question.
Yes, hi. My name is Kevin Turner. I'm the Executive Director of the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center. The mission of the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center is to further develop our vibrant lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community in the greater Milwaukee area to improve the quality of life for all. Just as a reminder, the questions you will be asked, you have 3 minutes to answer those questions. There will be an order to this question, starting with Travis Hope. Then from Travis, we'll go to Caroline Gomez, Tom. And then from Caroline, we'll go to Angel Sanchez. So without further ado, the first question is, what do you see as the biggest needs in Milwaukee County, and how do you plan to address them? And you have 3 minutes to.
Okay. So, so yeah, that's a big question, right? Some people might say that might be a loaded question, but because there's a lot of different things that are needed for the county on many different levels, and it hits different people different ways. But some of the biggest thing is mental health. A lot of things I hear is money for the parks, amenities for the parks, the pools. People were, upset that a lot of the pools weren't open this year and it was super hot. So those are all types of things that need to be changed. Some people you talk to will say the highways and public transportation, and we're hit the health thing is really a major thing that we have to work on, and it could be done in different ways. But one of the most important things that I see that I think can change is that the people that are already in place at different levels in the county, the state, really have to look at, we need help on all these levels, and it's not going to happen until everybody can work together and come up with these solutions. And it's going to take everybody at these to sit down and talk, and really, we already know what the issues are. We just need to figure out the solutions, and that's something that I would work on and try and help with. And some people will say, well, it's because we don't get enough money from the state. Well, we don't, are there's too much funding used for this and not for that. In reality, we just got to come together and figure it out. The solutions are there, and we have access to them. We just have to implement them. And the only way that's going to happen is we got to accept these issues, accept the failures that have been happening in the healthcare system, in the mental health, in our facilities that we have are supposed to help people, and they haven't to the fullest extent that we can help them, and making people safe, and just being able to live a good life out here. And that affects everything. That affects the city, the county, the state, federal, all levels. And we all need to come together and see that. And all the people, the 14th district and the county level and all the county need that respect and love. And like I said, we can do it, and I'm willing to do
30
it.
seconds left.
All right, thank you. And like I say, we just really need to work together, and we can solve these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. Caroline Gomez, Tom, you're up next. You have 3 minutes to answer the question.
Thank you, Kevin. I think the biggest needs in Milwaukee County really are vast, and I think reach all parts of our district and all parts of the city and all parts of the county. And from the work that I've done in public health and community social work, I would look at them in a holistic way, where we're looking at really all things that impact our health and well-being as a county. So the three things that come to mind is connecting the community, the voice of the community, to the policies that impact our everyday lives. Because I think without the community's voice, we'll never truly get to the solutions that we need. We need to hear the perspectives of us on the ground living our lives, because sometimes there's a disconnect between policy and what a law says is supposed to happen, and then the reality of that law in action. And so I want to make sure that the community is describing and explaining and sharing what it is to be impacted by these laws that are in place, and how we can best improve them, change them for the better. Um, I think safety and dignity for everyone where they live, work, and play is crucial, because it's not just um, a relationship with your doctor or provider that makes you well or healthy, but rather everything that is around you, because being able to get to a family sustaining job um, through the bus, or being able to walk outside safely in your community, those are the things that make a difference whether or not you or your family will be well. And I want to make sure that that is something that is prioritized. And then access to services and support for health, including mental health. I think through the pandemic, we've seen mental health take a toll in all of our lives. And so I want to make sure that all of those things are prioritized. And I come from an experience of working with community partners, working with government, working with other businesses and other organizations that may have differing opinions on things, but ultimately can come together around a goal. And with the priority of the community, I would make sure that that's what the goal is, that we surround ourselves, that it's our health, it's our well being. And I hope to do that with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Appreciate that. Angel Sanchez, you're up next for the question.
Well, thank you. I have a tremendous passion for, again, I think like Carolyn said, all of the services that the county has. But listen, here's where we're at, and here's the reality of things. You know, people are working more than ever today to just try to survive, to just get by. This whole notion of, I can only imagine what it must be to be 18 and perhaps want to move out and get your own apartment or something like that. And life is just so expensive. What I see as a solution, that there need to be more services for the kids. They need to have a safe place to go. When I was growing up, we had a great pool. It was called the Kosciuszko swimming pool. And guess what? It's gone. Where do kids in our neighborhood swim anywhere? The park at Jackson, the swimming pool at Jackson Park is scheduled to be torn down. Is it fair for kids to have to go all the way into by Layton Avenue there by the park there and to go swim? It's so far away. And what do? We held these diabetes seminars long ago to raise awareness on that issue. And yes, other issues too, like prenatal care, XYZ, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. But it's tough when you go into the community and you meet people who can't even afford insulin. So there is a lot of need everywhere to fund this, to fund that. But at the end of the day, we have to realize one thing. People are just making ends meet. They're barely getting by. They're trying to put their kids through college. They're trying to save for retirement. And, and everything's going up. Water bills have gone up in the city of Milwaukee. Real estate tax keeps going up in the city of Milwaukee. We're the highest tax city for cities of our size across America. And, people, I got to tell you, in a lot of ways, I think a lot of times people have given up faith in our services at the city. So we need to restore safe, and we need to be fiscally responsible and make our county and our city a destination place. Really grow our tax base and make some smart decisions. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Angel, for your response. And now I'm going to turn it over to Peggy, who will answer the next question.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is, what is your plan to save the parks? And the order will be Caroline, then Angel, and then Travis. So Caroline, you have 3 minutes. What is your plan to save the parks?
Thank you. I think the plan to save the parks is to figure out how to save the budget of the county. I think it's not something that will be solved in a day. I think there's a lot of concerns about how much money the county receives from the state and the shortfalls in that budget over the next couple of years. And I think it will take a relationship supporting communication between both the county and the state, community partners, and really what's at stake. Because it's not just um, limited to the parks. It's really the well-being of many services that will be potentially at the chopping block of the county without sustainable funding moving forward. And so my goal would be to start having those conversations, to learn about what's at stake through conversations with the community, through conversations with my colleagues at the county, through meetings with the state, with the governor's office to figure out how we can make those uh, relationships, build relationships so that they have understanding of what's at stake for Milwaukee County. And then when we can find those solutions to bring money into the county, making sure that it's given in a way that's equitable across the county. And I would be the voice for District 14 to make sure that we get our fair share and support of our parks, of support of our public transportation, support of really all the services that is required by state law for the county to administer. And I know that that doesn't always feel like we have that fair share as it currently stands, but I would make a point to make sure that I'm fighting for us completely along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And next, Angel, your plan to save the parks.
Well, the bottom line is, there's, one thing is we obviously need more money. And, I'm proud to say that I have friends at different levels of government here locally and at the state. And I think that it's important for them to understand that we pay into the state considerably and we do not get our fair share, which is not right. And let me be mindful that it's not only our county, it's counties across the entire state that would like to see more money, and they should get more money. And what we're asking for here locally, here in Milwaukee County, we're just trying to be fair and realistic with what it is that we're trying to accomplish. I think that I would say that we need to get more people involved in our youth to help out and have them take some ownership of our parks. There's so much maintenance that needs to get done. If people want to gather wood from all the fallen trees, that can be done. I think we should open up our parks to camping, especially now that the Harley Davidson event is coming up later this summer. I mean, there are so many different ways that we can utilize our parks to generate money, I think. But the big one's going to be state shared revenue. And I know that the most important thing is that rather than to spread my wings 100 feet wide and try to tackle many issues, this has been my central issue. The real bottom line is we need to get the money in the door. And I'm asking everyone who's listening right now, take those recreational dollars and all your entertainment dollars and keep them here in town. I think that we need to send a message loud and clear throughout the state that we need help from all those other assembly people out there in the state to vote to change this equation of state shared revenue. And I'm asking people to keep their dollars here in southeastern Wisconsin for that reason. Thank you.
Thank you. And Travis, 3 minutes, your plan to save the parks.
Yeah, so my plan to save the parks is to save the parks. I love the parks. I've been involved with every great park in this county district 14, and I understand the budget and the money is an important thing, but also takes people and partners. And with Pulaski Park, where we revitalized that, was a partnership with MSD and 16th Street Clinic, but also took the neighbors, the KK River Neighbors in Action, and the people that come to the events and really put in their input to fix that park and to use the park. The park has been highly used since the renovation, and that's the same thing I want to see with all these parks. And I've been involved with Walker Square Park, Kosciuszko Park, Barron Park. I've done a lot of stuff at these parks, and I'm gonna continue to do that. And that's how we save the parks, getting people to use the parks and trying to find partnerships to help fix things in the parks. I myself has written grants to fix stuff in the parks. Hopefully at Pulaski Park we'll be adding a picnic area there. There hasn't been picnic benches in that park for over 20 years. Other than a couple times we've asked for it, we haven't had steady picnic benches in that park. But yet there's some parks in the Milwaukee County system that are like less than an acre and have 2 picnic benches. So steady. So we really need to work on that equity for the neighborhoods to save these parks for the people. And that all comes down with, budget and the money, but at the same time, we need people to keep activating these parks. A lot of stuff that's been done in these parks over the years has been done by volunteers and the people in the neighborhoods. And we got to keep that going. We got to keep the parks safe so people want to keep using them for their family. And I've seen, especially during COVID, the parks played such an important role in that people were able to still come outside and see people, but still have distance. And it really helped people's mental health and well-being and families. And I want to continue to see that. The parks are very important to me, and they will always be one of my number one priorities when it comes to being a county supervisor. I'm also on the Milwaukee Parks Foundation board, and I've done other stuff with the parks. I've done tours on the parks. I've always been promoting the parks, and yes, the parks are something that's ingrained with me, my kids. So Kosciuszko Park especially is always been one of my favorite parks. But I've done a lot of stuff over the years in Pulaski Park. But there's other great individuals doing stuff in parks all the time, and people don't even know their names, but I see them, and I want to keep recognizing them and keep everybody using these parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll turn it over to Kevin for question 3.
Thank you, Peggy. So the order of this question would be Angel, Travis, and then Caroline. In addressing those needs, do you see a need to raise taxes? What is your reasoning? Is there nothing in the budget that can be reduced or redirected?
Well, like I said before, and thank you for the question, property taxes are already at an all-time high. If you look at, for example, the services that we've been getting, we don't have like a lot of law enforcement, and you have competing efforts of people who want to defund the police altogether. You look at other services. I work at the city of Milwaukee right now, and when you look at the amount of the lack of employees, I mean, there are hundreds of employees short in sanitation. I work at the water department. They're running at less than 50%. Look at the police department. It used to be 25 and out, but people are now leaving the police department to go work at other municipalities. So here's the thing, we're being asked to pay high water bills. A lot of the expenses that were in the city's budget, they moved them over to the water bills and elevated the water bills. And most recently now we have a street light tax. You can't just keep asking and asking and asking money from the people, and they're not getting any value for their money either. So that's really a tough question. Without looking at the entire budget as a whole, it's hard to just put a dart on one thing and say that we're going to eliminate this. But I have a reputation for streamlining city services and efficiencies. I know how to get things done, and I know who to talk with in different industries and get their insight on how we can do things better. And I'm a firm believer that we will get the job done, and that's what I've done for an entire lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. Next, Travis.
Kevin, can you repeat the question for me?
Absolutely. In addressing the needs, do you see the need to raise taxes? What is your reasoning? Is there nothing in the budget that can be reduced or redirected?
So looking at the last budget the county passed, they did a really good job at covering things and getting things going and making minimal cuts and things like that. So I would like to keep working on that to try and, keep those budgets. Of course, nobody ever wants to raise taxes, right? Even though, you know, yeah, a small increase would probably, shoot triple the amount of money we could take in, but it's not a popular thing and nobody wants to raise taxes right now, especially with everything going up and whatnot. So we have to look at other methods and stuff. And when it comes to things like that, I would have to see all the numbers and really talk to like the fellow county supervisors, board supervisors, and look at different things to really make a educated decision on that. I do think there are some things that can change um, to maybe relieve the budget so we wouldn't have to raise taxes. But at the same time, there's always already been so many cuts to the things at the county level that a lot of things are hurting. The parks are hurting, the highways, transportation. There's a lot of things. The health care system, the county portion of it is really hurting. So those types of things need to be looked at. And but I think as together as a board and as a community, we could all come together and figure that out so that we don't have to increase taxes and we don't have to put people in more of a lurch than what they're already in. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Carolyn.
Thank you. I know that raising taxes is one of the options being discussed to assist with the county budget shortfalls. I would have to learn, of course, of all the various options we have available to us in the community. I also think that hearing from the community, making sure that the voice of the community is at the table to make sure that they see the benefits and concerns of each solution, not just the idea of raising taxes, to make sure that we're going in the right direction, that we can find sound solutions for the budget issues of the county. And it's going to take relationships and partnerships with both community partners, government entities, and businesses. And I think any decision that we do decide to go with has to include equity, sustainability, and longevity for the entire community. And that means it's not just a solution for today, but what happens the next time we have to pass a budget? Is this, at stake again? Are services potentially going to be cut again? So really, what I want to make sure is that we're doing this right the first time, thinking through it thoroughly, working with partners both in the community and across our county, looking to my county supervisors to collaborate and finding the solution that works for the test of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Peg.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, we've already touched on this one a bit, but this is an opportunity to perhaps go a little more in depth in your answer. The question is, how do you plan on addressing the budget shortfalls? What do you think about state revenue sharing? And the order will be Travis, then Caroline, then Angel. So Travis, 3 minutes. How do you plan on addressing the budget shortfalls? What do you think about state revenue sharing?
So yeah, that was can you repeat that again for me?
Sure. How do you plan on addressing budget shortfalls? What do you think about state revenue sharing?
Well, as far as state revenue sharing goes, we need more on every level for the amount of money that's made off of the county and city services. You know, the state revenue sharing at a whole needs to be assessed. But there's more things that we have to check into. And in the shortfalls, I mean, I think we kind of talked about it earlier, but you know, yeah, I'm just trying to think of some stuff. Um, you know, I don't, we don't want to raise taxes. I understand that's going on, but I'm confident that we can work on things to change that, and we don't have to keep raising taxes and doing stuff like that. There is a lot of shortfalls that we can work on, but it's going to come from us working together as a team with the county supervisors, the state, the city, everybody to try and help solve these issues. And we need input from the county district, what they want to do, what they think is best. Um, of course, nobody's going to want to raise taxes. It's probably going to have to happen at some point. Like I say, a small percentage could bring in millions of dollars extra that we need to fill those shortfalls. I'm confident in the leadership we have now. I would like to be a part of that and keep going, building that up to take care of those issues. And that's what I see. That's what I want to happen. And we can make it happen. And there's always going to be shortfalls. There's always going to be challenges, but we can all work together to keep handling them and moving things forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis. And Carolyn, you're next.
Thank you, Peggy. So historically, Milwaukee County and city have not had their fair share of state revenue. So it's actually Milwaukee revenue, like that we build, that we've created over time, that has to go to the state, and then Wisconsin, the state, gives it back to Milwaukee. But it's not one for one. It's actually a lot less, significantly less. And so there's a lot of barriers to why we're not getting our fair share. And so we would have to really get to the bottom of those root causes, talk to the state regularly, talk to legislators, because it's not just the governor, it's the assembly, it's the state senators, it's that whole process that impacts the things that are happening here locally. And that's going to take also the voice of the people. It's going to take community feeling educated with the information. And I'm happy and would love to be someone that can be in the community helping explain and share this information so that we have the power to then lift our voices to the state, to our local representatives at the state level, to make sure that we are fighting for Milwaukee, for us to have our fair share in resources. Because to see the things that we've done in Milwaukee at the city and county level, where we are now generating a lot of revenue for the state, that we are bringing people into our community, that people want to see, like, you've seen the articles, and Milwaukee is getting noticed across the nation for being this beautiful community that we've known because we've been here. And because of it, people are coming here and they're spending their money here. And with that happening, that money primarily goes back to the state, and then we get some of it back. And I feel like really drilling into that and making sure that the community knows this and can share why it's not right that we're not getting our fair share of that, um, could really be impactful, could really be meaningful. And then, of course, looking at other solutions in the meantime, because that's not going to be an easy fight. It's not going to be
30
something that
seconds.
we can resolve in a day. But looking at all the options that we have available to us, working together to make sure that we have the budget, at least to maintain the resources that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And Angel, 3 minutes.
Well, thank you. Interestingly enough, there have been many people before me in this very seat here that have made promises to do something about this, but they've done absolutely nothing. And I want to note that because it's important that these very same people are out there perhaps pushing agendas for other things that they believe in. There are trade-offs to getting this done. One of those trade-offs is school choice. And I know that there are people listening right now that know that this is the case. There are other issues as well. It's important to realize that at this time we have an all-time high state surplus of $7 billion. There's money there. It just needs to flow back into the county. Let me mention a few other things. The city of Milwaukee has had an issue here with assessments. We tackled that a long time ago, where a lot of people in our neighborhood were being overassessed for the real estate they own. Ironically, there were other neighborhoods that were underassessed. That needs to get cleaned up. 30% of the city of Milwaukee's real estate is tax delinquent. That's a lot, that's a third of the city's real estate that are behind in payments or not paying at all. Parking tickets. The last I knew of what the city was operating on parking tickets, over 50% of that revenue, actually it was 50% at the time I checked. Now things may have changed, but for every parking ticket that was written, over 50% of that money wasn't even coming back to the city. Now we've had a lot of elected officials out there that are well aware of this, but have they put a stop to it? Do you think it's fair for people who want to go dine downtown or they're trying to park outside of a dental appointment by the university? They run in, they run out, and then they get a parking ticket, and half of that money anyway doesn't even go to the city. My point is simply this. Real leadership comes from people taking action and getting in and looking and dissecting the problem and recognizing that we need to have some changes. If you look at our city, there's a lot of things we can do, but the fact of the matter is, yes, the fact of the matter is that there are businesses that are leaving our city, there are people that are leaving our city, and the reality is we need to get our house in order and live within our means here in Milwaukee County. We need to get that done and let the state know that we're serious about working with them. Thank you.
Thank you. Back to Kevin.
Thanks, Peggy. So this question is, what is your position on the domes? Do we rehabilitate it or remove and replace or only remove, and why? In the order of this question will be Caroline, then Angel, and then Travis.
Thank you, Kevin. So ideally, we would be able to rehabilitate those domes as the community knows and loves them. But we have to do it in a way that's sustainable, cost effective, and sets our community up for success, long term success. I keep kind of iterating that it can't be a solution just for today. It has to be something that can stand the test of time, that would allow us to enjoy the domes from here on to come. The purpose of the domes, which is to have this piece of you know architectural beauty in our community, as well as the biodiversity that it holds, as well as the resource in the community that it serves. And as a county, we're dealing, of course, with the budget shortfalls that we keep talking about, and so we have to look at the big picture of what our community needs holistically, and then also what makes the dome special to our community. And so we have to make sure that we can come up with a way that we can pay for that serves the community as a whole. And I'm eager to learn the perspectives of you all on the call, you watching maybe at a later date, and the community as a whole, to make sure that we can find out what that solution is, what those preferences are, and work with the other county board supervisors to make sure that we can see that through. But it's not going to be easy, and I hope you all know that. But I'm eager to learn what we can do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Next is Angel.
You know, about 20 years ago, we were faced with a decision at the city with the Pabst Theater across the street from City Hall. And what took place then is there was a philanthropist, Michael Cudahy, who has since he's passed away. But the point was that a deal was reached in which his organization would take over the theater and they would control all of the monies around, the financing, the admissions, the overhead, just front to back, everything to keep it alive and thriving. I think we can probably find a solution like that for the domes. I think the domes need to be saved, and I'm completely against taking them down. My big concern, though, would be this, is that we need to make sure that the domes are affordable for everyone. I keep thinking that right now we're living in an era of what I call economic segregation, and it's not fair because I think that all families and all children in our inner city should be able to visit places like the domes, the brewers, the zoo. I call that a normal upbringing, but everything is so expensive nowadays. So all I can say is this: I will do everything in my power to save the domes, and I'll personally look at what it's going to take, not only short term and long term, but I will work towards a solution.
Thank you, Angel. Next up is Travis.
Hello. Yeah, so I love the Milwaukee Domes. I've been there since I was a kid. I took my kids there. I always want them to be around. I know I went to some of the first meetings concerning the domes already years ago, and all the things that were happening and why they were talking about maybe rehabbing them or taking them down. And I think that there's been a lot of work, especially by the other county supervisors, recently, as last year, is trying to find ways to keep them alive and going and save them. And that's something that will continue on, working with them to help to bring those domes to life and keep them going, keep them active, keep people visiting them, keep them safe for people to visit. I don't want to take them down. I don't want to totally privatize them, because there's been different plans in the talks that I've seen, both as a resident and as a organizer, go into those meetings, and they just, we need to work together and keep them going. There's different alternatives. There could be a funder that could come up with some money to just donate to fix the domes to keep them our historic, site that people love to see them. They're so unique. They're one of the most visited places in Milwaukee. And I mean, you look at almost every logo, everything, the domes are in them. So I just think that there needs to be more talking and more solution, problem solving, brought into play when it comes to the domes. But taking them away is just not realistic. We need to really work to solve these issues, and so they're there for generations to come, and people can keep visiting them. Because if you take down the domes, that's another reason for people not to come to Milwaukee. And we need to keep the stuff we have for people to come to Milwaukee and enjoy Milwaukee and the community and the neighbors that live there. That would be devastating if one day they wake up and they can't see the domes. It's just such a landmark of Milwaukee, and I'll do everything I can to help keep them there. Even if I'm not a Milwaukee County supervisor,
30
as a
seconds.
volunteer organizer, I'll keep working hard to make sure that those domes are a part of Milwaukee. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. I'm going to turn it back to Peggy.
Thanks, Kevin. Last question. What is your plan to help address crime? And the order is Angel, Travis, and then Carolyn. So Angel, 3 minutes. What is your plan to help address crime?
First of all, let me tell you that crime is it's running out of control. It's everywhere. It's important that we have law enforcement It's important that people be able to pick up the phone and, I mean, who else are you going to call when you need the police, when you need the sheriff? But the reality is that crime's out of control. And, you know, we have, I think for the most part, the police department's done an incredible job. I'm not saying they're perfect, but the reality is that we know for a fact that they have arrested a lot of people and rearrested a lot of criminals. But our court system is really not holding up their end of it. Now, we can agree to disagree. Some people may say that the court system's operating just fine. But I think that, you know, our families want safety. Our families want to be able to, you know, everyone wants to play and run around in the neighborhood. The kids want to play. Our senior citizens want to go for a walk and pick up groceries. But the fact of the matter, that's not happening. Crime's out of control. There's panhandlers everywhere. There's prostitution everywhere. The problem doesn't seem to be getting better. And let me just say this, because we keep talking about money. I want everyone here to take a moment out and look at a website, and it's called the Salaries of the Employees of the City of Milwaukee. And what you're going to find out there is that in the police department and the fire department, there are thousands of people who are making in excess of $150,000 a year. Some are making over $200,000 a year. And this is just, personally, I think it's ridiculous because crime has not gotten any better. It's gotten worse. And my condolences to all the fallen officers out there who in the line of duty have had to pay with their life. Crime needs to stop. It needs to get under control, and we need to rebuild the city. And I think that's what all the working families, I think that's what everyone wants here. And you know, if there's going to be a case where we need to raise taxes, it's going to be on public safety. Thank you.
Thank you. And Travis, your plan to help address crime.
So I've been involved in my neighborhood in the South Side for years now, trying to address crime and prevent crime and make things safer for families to enjoy the city, their neighborhoods. I haven't missed the crime and safety meeting at District 2 since 2016. I'm there all the time listening to people. I go to every neighborhood meetings from Lincoln Village to Walker's Point to Walker Square and all the other neighborhoods, Polonia, and all the other neighborhoods that encompass the District 14. And I've also been to District 6 crime and safety meetings. I've tried to do everything I can as far as safety. I've everything from reckless driving I've tried to help with. I've volunteered with the Milwaukee Police Department. I've also worked with them as an organizer. I also work with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department to not only have a good relationship with the community, but also to listen to the community and navigate those issues. And I've always been a helper voice to help bring those issues to light to both the Milwaukee Police Department and the County Sheriff's Department on the issues of the parks, the neighborhoods surrounding the parks, and everything in between, from the opioid crisis to mental health issues to just domestic violence to just all sorts of crime and safety issues that have riddled the city, the district, county, everything. And I'm always open to different things, to prevention. We're always trying to work with different and entities, organizations to help do that. At the county level, that would always be a top priority is the safety of our neighborhoods. And I would always listen to the neighborhoods, talk to people. I've helped raise grants. I've helped got grants and monies for Ring cameras. I did Alert Neighbor program in different areas. Yeah, just I've always encouraged the neighbors to call. A lot of times we have a lot of shootings. I hear those same gunshots right outside my neighborhood, right outside my house. So I'm always concerned about families and everybody. And reckless driving and the drug issue is another big issue when it comes to safety. And I would work on all those things
3 seconds.
to communicate the voice of the issues of the safety of the County District 14. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis and Caroline.
Thank you, Peggy. I think crime is a symptom of an underserved community. And I think it's important that we have a response to crime, but I also think that for it to only be a reactive response is not sufficient. It's not enough. And really, we need to be looking at all the resources that are available in our communities to make sure that our communities have the tools to fight crime preventatively so that the crime doesn't have to even happen, doesn't it have to exist. And so, really looking at what are we able to invest in our communities around education, around health and well-being, around the parks, around family sustaining jobs, access to those family sustaining jobs through a strong transportation system. All of those things would help aid the prevention and elimination of crime. When we have the resources that families need to live well lives, there's less likely the opportunity or even interest of people wanting to turn to a life of crime, whether that's through issues of uh, violence, drug use, and things like that. You know, a lot of that is reactions or decisions made because of poverty, because of mental health concerns or issues, and those things could be fixed and healed. And that's really the answer is we have to heal our community, and we have to make sure that we have the tools and the resources and the partners and the relationships and really the relationships with one another so that we're not falling toward those those options, really to create better options for everyone in our district. And I would work to do that. I would work to figure out what are the preventative solutions that we can come up with so that crime is less of an issue in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Kevin, back to you.
Thanks, Peggy. Well, we have now reached that time where each candidate will provide a closing statement. In this closing statement, each candidate will have 15 minutes to close out. And the order of this part would be Travis, Caroline, and then Angel.
Hello, I don't think it's 15 minutes. I think it's only 5, but I think I'll use that time I
It's
can get.
5 minutes, sorry.
No problem, Kevin. Yeah, so as you can tell, I'm not a polished politician. I'm an individual from the neighborhood. I've always lived here on the south side. I'm a father. I'm a volunteer. I'm a community gardener. I'm a parks user. Um, I'm just a all around regular person that wants to make sure that the people of the 14th district are heard at that county level and higher. And I will continue to do that no matter what. And I just, I want to bring stability to this position. I don't want this position to be a stepping stone. I don't want this position to be, oh, it's just the county supervisor position. I want it to be a position that's heard and it's listening to the people of the neighborhoods to bring that voice and then accomplish stuff on all these issues. And that's only going to happen if people all come together and we can do this. A vote for me is a vote for you and your family and safety in this community. And I'll always be accessible. I'm going to have meetings in the parks, I'm going to have meetings in the neighborhoods. I will always be there. I want people to know who their county supervisor is. I'm knocking at these doors and people don't even know who their county supervisor is or what they do. And I want to change that. And I can do that, but I need your help. I need your vote. I need your confidence. And with that, thank you very much. Counties, like I said, hope for the county District 14. I'm here. I'm always accessible. If you want to talk to me or meet me, reach out. Also, there's some other great stuff out there that I've done, some interviews and stuff. You can Google me, check it out. yeah, so I'll sit when you see me in the community, just say hi, like I always say at all the meetings I go to. You'll continue to see me no matter what. Please vote April 4th and May 2nd. We need you. I need you. Hope for the county. Let's go. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Caroline, you have 5 minutes for your closing statement.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts with you all today. We have such a vibrant and diverse community that I would be so honored to represent. I want to make sure that our voice is at the table when important decisions need to be made that impact our health, well-being, and livelihoods. Through my responses today and through conversations with you all moving forward, I want to know and see that I want you to know that my words are not just words, that they are plans for action to represent this community wholeheartedly to the best of my ability. I want to take this opportunity, and I take it so seriously, and it would be an immense joy to lift up the voices of you all. Throughout my life, I've been known as a connector, someone who can bring people, groups, and even competitors together to find a collective goal that benefits the community. I would continue to build bridges and connect with community organizations, my colleagues at the county, and the community to make sure that we're not just maintaining the status quo, but moving our community toward a future where we are not just surviving, but thriving. And I would love to earn your vote on April 4th and May 2nd to become your District 14 supervisor. You can learn more about me at carolinecaresmke.com because I do. I care. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Angel, you're up next. 5 minutes. Closing statement.
Well, first of all, again, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in, all the people who, all the coaches out there, all the single parents, all the grandmas and grandpas that, help with the grandkids and everything. You know, I sometimes wonder, is it, if you start to identify what you want, what families want, what is it that they want? They want safe neighborhoods. They want clean neighborhoods. They want a good school system, employment, someday for their children to become homeowners. But then I ask myself, well, how different is it being a homeowner today? What's the quality of life issues today compared to what it was maybe 30, 40 years ago? So one person once said, we make a mistake that we get a good job in one day and when we can, we leave the neighborhood. Not everyone leaves. There's many of us who have stayed. We're here for the long haul. We've invested in our homes. We've committed to the neighborhood. But it's our quality of life that's at stake. We can do better. I got elected to the Common Council in the year 2000, and they said it couldn't be done. That Latino could never be an alder person, an elected official. And I had a problem with that because, I think that we are very smart, all of us minorities, everyone. We have a lot to offer. And I know my parents. My father was a foundry worker and my mother worked in housekeeping. She wanted a better tomorrow for her children. And we all ended up at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, Marquette, and University of Minnesota. And I'm proud to say that we have doctors in our family and a lot of bachelor degrees, master degrees. My niece is working to become an attorney. I'm so proud of her. But I made a decision back then when the tumbleweeds would roll across the streets of Walker's Point that I could spend the next 4 years of my time smiling and shaking hands or actually go in there and do the job. And we did. And with that, the economic development came and we were number one in the entire city. And look what's happened today in the course of the last 15, 20 years. It's become the number one neighborhood in the entire city. People would say, hey, what are we going to do about those boarded up storefronts on Lincoln Avenue? The plywood is gone and the businesses are there. We brought about the first roundabout in the city of Milwaukee. And now many communities have followed throughout the state. We held healthcare seminars to deal with the diabetes issue, prenatal care. We made sure that the doors were open for everyone, including the undocumented. We went out into the MPS and we opened the doors, and it was the action learning teams. It was the parent teacher conferences. It was talking about the value of an education. And really, I want to shout out to all the parents that are actively involved, and really all the good kids, because there's a lot of good kids doing a lot of great things. We had so many phone calls coming in, and the priority was to serve the people, and that's why I'm proud to say that my staff included 15 university interns to provide service. If you look around our entire Southside community, at least the District 12 that I represented, I started double-sided parking because people were getting too many parking tickets. That meant people could park on either side of the road and not get penalized. That's a good thing. We made a lot of progress, and progress, it's easy to talk about it, but really it takes hard work. I want your family to be safe. I want your kids to get a good education. And I want everyone to know, listen, we're going to do all that we can to live within our means, just like you do, just like my family does. We're going to do what's right for our city and for our county. I'm asking for your vote. If you think that we can do better, I need you to get all your neighbors out to vote. It's very, very important. We've been down this path before for many, many years. Look, I'm even gray now. I'll be 54. So it's been a long time, but look at, we can do better, and I think you would agree so. Thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Angel. Appreciate it. At this time, I'm actually going to turn it over to Tammy, who will be doing some closing remarks.
Thank you, Kevin and Peggy. Let's give it up for our moderators. They did an excellent job. I am going to go say some hellos so that Stacy could get ready the video from Chairperson of the County Supervisor, Marcelia Nicholson. I'll say some hellos, and then she's going to share a message. I'll be back with you with some closing remarks. All right, let me see where I left off so I can say hellos. I'm so grateful to you all for being with us today and for cooperating with our hellos in the comments. Hola, County Supervisor Juan Miguel Martinez is with us. I'm not sure if I got Jim Layer before. I think I did, but I'm not sure. Also, State Representative Silvia Ortiz Velez, thank you for being with us. My goodness. Eloisa Gomez, League of Women Voters, Voto Latino, thank you for being with us. Juanito Arevalo from Milwaukee Turners, hola, part of the coalition team. Nick Ramos from Vote Riders, part of our coalition team. Barbara Cerda from the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center, thank you for being with us. Brandy Hernandez from the Latino Chamber of Commerce, part of our coalition, thank you for being with us. Jetty Carr, hola. I don't see too well, folks, so be a little patient. I'm having to look at my computer screen instead of the big screen. Maria Carmen Beltran, hola. Thank you for sharing the Facebook Live. We appreciate that. Folks are saying they learned a lot from this forum. That was our intent. I'm glad that we met that expectation. Our Register of Deeds, Izzy Ramon, thank you for being with us. Good to see you. Carmen Ortiz is saying thanks to SOC for turning it over so quickly virtually. It was painful, but we did it. We had to. We love you very much, folks. We're part of your community, and it was important for us to deliver. Eloisa saying, thank you as well, Andrea. Excellent job. All right, we're going to show a video from Chairperson Marcelia Nicholson of the County Board, and then I'll be back with some more information. And for those of you who didn't get a shout out, hello, say something in the comments, and I'll say hi. I'd like to know who's with us today.
Hi, I'm County Board Chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson. And as the first Afro-Latina to lead the County Board, I know firsthand just how important the job of a county supervisor is to Latino and Hispanic communities. Supervisors are responsible for adopting a $1.2 billion budget every year, and we set policy for quality of life services such as parks and transit. This is why I appreciate the Southside Organizing Center for hosting a forum for residents to get to know the candidates seeking to represent the 14th Supervisory District. This district is in the heart of Milwaukee Southside and includes landmarks like the Kazi Community Center and Basilica of St. Josephat. It is so important that the residents of District 14 make their voices heard in this important election.
Thank you. You did an incredible job, Chairwoman, and we appreciate your service. I got a couple more hellos, and then I'm going to make some announcements. Hola, Sonia Valadez, for being with us. Hola, Maria Maru Gutierrez, for being with us. All right, folks, we're grateful to our candidates for being with us as well. All of them confirmed and all of them showed up. Let me share a couple of announcements for you to know. Jeanette is going to share the links to this information, so don't worry if you're not following me, because I'm going to talk fast. But you'll be able to refer back to the forum if you missed anything. All the comments will be there. Just so you know, on Valentine's Day, February 14, the county exec announced a special order for this election. And I'm going to share some of that information from you. There was a vacancy caused by the former elected county supervisor who stepped down. And so the county exec said residents deserve fair, just, and equitable representation. And so they ordered the seat to be filled as soon as possible for the constituents of District 14. I'm going to share a map in a second because things have changed, so I want to help you out there. And so the person who gets elected, the winner of this election, is going to fill out the remainder of the incumbent's 2-year term, which expires on April 14, 2024. So the person left, who was Diango Serpa, and now this person is going to complete that term to April 14. The candidates had to get signatures for their election and submit them by the 28th at 5, and they did, obviously, because they're with us. This was a change in the plan. The county exec announced a plan on the 1st, and then it changed on the 14th. And then they had to accommodate for all the sort of statutes that require so much time between different actions, just so you know why that changed. But here's some information I think will help you all move forward in voting for this seat, because there's also a spring election for the Supreme Court justice and some other things. So the primary election, so that's the election that puts 2 candidates forward. Since there are 3 for this role, you're going to be voting and 2 will move forward. That's called a primary. That's going to happen Tuesday, April 4th. And then there's going to be a special election for this position May 2nd. So it's going to be a little confusing because we're used to a primary and we're used to a general election, which is Tuesday, April 4th. This is a special election. Those of you of District 14 need to pay attention to May 2nd is going to be that vote. All right. And then Jeanette's going to share a link, and I'm going to ask Stacy to see if she can help me present my screen. I'm going to try. I'm not real good at this, but I'm going to give it a try. Let's see here. All right, someone is going to have to let me know if you see the map I'm showing, because now I can't see the screen. So I'm going to ask my faithful staff to text me and tell me, can they see that? Okay, it's good. All right, here's the deal, folks. We have a new map and a new district. Why? Because when we did the census, one of the important results of that is things get recalculated based on the number of people that are counted for the census. People start having to redraw district lines so that certain number of people can be represented within a district. And you all probably were very keen to the big fights and all really it was a hot mess of trying to jockey for making districts to favor whatever party people wanted it to favor. All of that drama took place. The result of that, happy or not that we are, is this new district map. So I don't know if you can see it fully on the screen at one time. And it's not an easy map to describe because as you can see, there's quite a design to it. But to give you a sense, and let me see if I can make it a little larger. To give you a sense, the most north part of this map is Virginia Street. And then the furthest south is Howard Avenue, right? So you got to be within that north and south. And then the farthest west is South 20th Street. But as you can see, it starts curving and then goes to 16th Street. And then goes to what is like 9th or 10th Street that I can't see on that map. So we're sharing the link in the comments so you can be sure if you live in that district. And then on the east, the furthest east street is South First Place, but as you can see, that goes in and out, in and out, in and out. So please do refer to this map when trying to identify if you live in District 14. And then that will help you also, find your polling place, etc. And again, that link is going to be in the comments so that you all can follow that. And then we're also going to share the website for county supervisors page in general so that you can find out more about the county supervisors. Jeanette's going to put those in the comments for you. So again, you're going to have a link to the county supervisor page, the special announcement for the election, and the map. And then I'm going to ask Jeanette too to put my vote.org back up, which is like the central website where you can go again and find out what election is coming up, what district you live in, who's representing you, what's on the ballot, what IDs you need to take, are you registered, you can order absentee ballots there, etc. Your whole civic information is there. And if you have any questions, we welcome you to contact us at SOC. You can call us at 414-672-8090. You can visit our website at SOCMilwaukee, spelled out.org. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org, and all of that will be in the comments as well. Let me tell you, if you're new to SOC, just give me a couple minutes here to tell you about us, and I'm going to end with reminding you all the door prizes you can win. Okay. This is our 33rd birthday, y'all. SOC is the longest serving grassroots organizing institute on the South Side. We are completely bilingual and culturally competent in the Latino X culture. We are growing and strengthening. When I came to SOC, there was 2 employees. We hit a high of 30 in the 2020, and now we have about a dozen and a half permanent positions. And here's what you need to know about SOC. I'm always amazed when I came to SOC how different people see the different facets of SOC. I live literally a block away from our office, and I got housing rehab information and resources, and that's what I thought SOC did, but we do a lot of things. So let me share that with you. First and foremost, we want to ensure neighbors have a voice in all that we do, as you saw in this forum, that they have a vote, they're engaged with democracy, civic engagement, and they have a vehicle to organize on the things that are important to them. And the one thing that has remained the same since it started in 1990 by neighbors and continues to be focused that way is safety. And here are some historic things SOC has had. We don't always get the shine for it or the respect for it, but it's the truth, and I'm sharing it with you. It was SOC who led the effort to ensure that we had a community problem-solving unit, and we piloted that. It's called CPU. And we serve Milwaukee District Police Department too with that service, which means we come together and try to problem solve things versus just having the police or the city come out um, and head out with people. We figure out what's really happening and what the action should be to resolve that. And it was SOC who led the fight back in the early years to insist that the police department have a relationship with the community, and that was a hard fought battle, and we won. And it was SOC who also piloted crime and safety meetings all across the city, which we take for granted now. And I take no credit for that. So it's not like I'm tooting my horn. It's about SOC's historical contributions to this community. And SOC has done things like SOC led the charge to have spray cans locked up when we had, the high gang violence, intergang violence. The things we've done recently, we were part of the effort to what I call liberate the Fire and Police Commission from total control of the mayor and have it be more of an independent body to represent neighbors. We were also on the leadership team for and continue to be for the Community Collaborative Commission, which is seeing historic law enforcement reform in Milwaukee that we've never seen. Cameras, the um, the SOP standard operating procedure that ICE has to have a judicial warrant to look for undocumented people or arrest the undocumented people. Those are the changes. Voss has led that to give them all the credit, and we just supported that as a council, and SOC supported it as well. And those law enforcement efforts, over 110 of you showed up to our safety summit to give input into the Department of Justice's findings regarding the investigation of Milwaukee Police Department and the FPC. And that's what all that information we took at the CCC, and now that is a formal commission of the Common Council. And then I want to invite you to our national night out this year at Kazi Park on August 1st. I think I got that date right. I hope I don't got it wrong. That is our largest community event. We've had from 500 to 800 people attend. It is a national effort. Former county supervisor Peggy West transferred that event to SOC to host, and we partner with Police District 2, the Sheriff's Department, the Fire Department, and the Health Department to bring you the latest in safety information and resources. And there's over 30 partners that we've grown into for that, and it's held at Kazi Park. And then a couple of more, and then we'll get to the prizes. Listen, I invite you to partner with us. We are people, all our program staff lives in this district. Most of us are lifers, own homes here. But we do adult and youth organizing. We do civic engagement, democracy work like this candidate forum. It's our tradition. We have a whole leadership department. We have a Gold Grassroots Organizing Leadership Development Institute for Neighbors. We have an annual conference. We have an annual retro brawl that recognizes unsung neighbors in our community. And so we invite you to partner with us. And right now, there are 3 ways you can take action right away, and you'll be entered into a drawing that will be pulled on Monday on Facebook, on SOC's Facebook Live. Number 1, we all are here post-pandemic, and our priorities we had to really take a look at when our life was drastically in danger and restricted. And so we are doing a post-pandemic survey to find out what's really important to you all now that the pandemic is over, because I want to make sure that SOC is serving your needs. We can't be everything to everybody. But if you tell us what's super important to you, that's what we're going to do for the next couple of years. So it's, I don't like to call it a strategic plan. I call it a neighbor action plan. Please fill out that survey. That'll get you into the drawing. And the other thing is, if you really care about this community and want to partner with us, we're recruiting 1 adult and 1 youth for each block to be ambassadors. And if you sign up there, you're committing to make sure that when there's some major information or resources or event coming or activities, that you just agree to flyer your block and let them know what's happening, and that you pay attention to what people are saying so you can tell SOC so we can respond. And then if you appreciated today's forum, we ask you to fill out the survey for the forum. None of these 3 surveys take more than 5 minutes. FYI. And this last one probably takes 2, to be honest. And it's just to give us some feedback on what you appreciated or want us to change about these types of forums in the future. So we thank you all. I'm going to say one last goodbye, and then you'll be on probably your way to staying home, warm and safe. So let me look in the comments and see who we have with us. We have Dr. Razga, who is the secretary of our board. Thank you for being with us. And we have, oops, it went all the way to the top, so be patient with me, folks. That's it for new folks. Thank you for being with us. Those of you, to remind you again about the drawing, those of you who RSVP that you were coming to the forum prior to the forum are entered into the drawing. Those of you who shared this Facebook Live are entered into the drawing. Those of you who like our social media, SOC social media, are going to be entered into our drawing. And then those of you who fill out our surveys are going to be entered into your drawing. Before we go, hola, Gabriela Rocio, good to see you. Good. Hola, Mitch Lair. All right, thank you all. Stay safe and warm.